Hello and welcome everyone. I'm just going to wait a few more minutes to give everyone a chance to join. So we'll get started about 1:35. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marie Sweeney, and we will just get started in the coming moments. Um, LinkedIn user, sometimes there are issues with sound. You have to allow audio from the LinkedIn app itself. Okay, so let's get started. My name is Marie Sweeney, and I work with Cannabis License Experts. I've been part of the team for just going on shy of 3 years at this point. And today we're going to be covering NHP site licensing in the cannabis industry, how to expand growth opportunities. As we all know, cannabis is a tough slug. So anything that we can do to create a new revenue stream is always a valuable thing to learn about and expand your operations. Okay, so today we are going to be covering what is NHP site licensing, what the key regulatory frameworks look like, what the steps to obtaining your site license are, what your compliance requirements are, some practical tips and common pitfalls, and then we will, at the end, as long as there is time, also have a bit of a Q&A available to everyone. Okay, so let's get started in understanding exactly what NHP or natural health product site licensing is. So site licensing is a mandatory regulatory process, which we are all very aware of, Health Canada and their regulatory processes. And it's for companies in Canada that manufacture, package, label, or import and export natural health products. Cannabis companies can obtain a site license if they are involved in activities that fall under the NHP category. So what this could look like for cannabis companies is, while in Canada, we do not have cannabis and wellness products just yet, they are available throughout parts of Europe. So if you have a international customer who is asking for a specific formulation, if you have your NHP site license, then you can start producing these products for them for export. The other thing it does allow is to use downtime and unused processing lines for the manufacture of specific NHPs. So say you want to manufacture vitamin C caplets, that would be an NHP. And so what does that legal and regulatory framework look like? Natural Health Products Regulations, or NHPRs, outlines the requirements for manufacturing, packaging, labeling, and the import and export of NHPs. And then as well, because we're cannabis, we always fall under the Cannabis Act, and that governs the production and sale of cannabis for both recreational and medicinal purposes. And Nicole, right now, NHP is a Canadian kind of category. It's similar to dietary supplements in the US, although because there is yet to be federal legalization of cannabis, it does make import and export extremely hard for THC products, which then again kind of overlaps with the creation of any dietary supplements that would be sent outside the country as well. And Lynette, feel free to email me at the line below. Today we are going to stick to our topics of NHPs, but I am happy to address any of your questions about New York City and New York State's rules and regulations. My pleasure. I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the chat throughout today's session, but again, I will go through towards the end of the Q&A and try and adjust everybody's questions for them. So let's start with why obtaining a site license. I touched on it very briefly a second ago, but one, we can access a broader consumer base. Companies can gain access to a broader NHP market, which includes growing demand for health-conscious products. We all know that wellness and living your best life is the best thing out there right now. Beauty and health fields, NHPs are some of the fastest growing globally. So being able to tap into those markets is going to be incredibly valuable to your company as long as you are planning that process out correctly. Next is to access that NHP market. It allows companies to legally manufacture and distribute cannabis products and NHP products that are intended for health benefits, such as medical cannabis products or cannabis-based supplements. So again, while we don't have the ability to say combine melatonin and cannabis in a product here in Canada, that is allowed throughout certain international markets. So again, you could be contract manufacturing products for specific markets globally. And then as well, it allows you to access product classification categories. So it helps companies ensure that their cannabis products are properly classified, enabling them to market properly and sell them legally within those regulatory frameworks. Then we're also adding a layer of quality assurance, especially for international markets who are new to working with cannabis companies. They do have a lot of the time some experience with our other categories in Canada, health products, DIN registered products, which are drug identification numbers, Food and Drug Act, all of those wonderful things that all companies have to follow when doing any trade to protect the health and safety of Canadians as well as our customers globally. So this process of quality assurance requires cannabis companies to implement a comprehensive QMS, which is quality management system, GMPs, which are good manufacturing practices, and maintain strict record-keeping protocols. We all know how that works within the cannabis industry already, so we're just going to add an extra layer of record-keeping protocols. It also ensures that products are produced with a consistent quality and safety in mind. It also allows for greater transparency. So cannabis companies and producers must demonstrate that they meet strict Health Canada's health and safety standards, and it helps build consumer trust in the quality and safety of your products. And then again, I've mentioned it a couple of times, it's a huge part of what attracts a lot of companies to pursuing NHP site licensing are international opportunities. So Canadian cannabis companies may gain the ability to export cannabis products classified as NHPs to countries that accept the certification. Many companies require an NHP site license for the importation of health-related products, and being licensed can open those doors for you. Thanks, Sean. We've done some work with you in the past, and yes, if anybody is looking for some referrals to work with EQMS systems, reach out and I'll put you in contact with Sean and his team, or you can reach out to me with any questions and concerns. I'm happy to act as a mediator if you're a little nervous about reaching out to a company straight away. Okay, so let's move on to some more reasons why we want to do an NHP site license. First are going to be your structured framework. This forces companies to put in place a structured operational process, including documentation of every step on the production and distribution of cannabis products. It can lead to better organizational practices and improved operational efficiencies. It will also help lower costs with potential waste or having to redo anything. Just keeping on top of all of your practices at all times. It also reduces having to go and do a bunch of CAPAs. So then as well, we're going to have internal controls. So the application process requires companies to establish an effective internal control and protocols to help streamline operations and ensure that the facility operates efficiently in line with the regulatory expectations. Both regulatory expectations within the government bodies, as well as any potential international clients who are going to have their own specifications and requirements. It also allows you to create some differentiation within the market. It demonstrates to your consumers, your investors, regulatory bodies, that the company is committing to producing a safe, high-quality product in a regulated environment. This can help set you apart from any competitors in the cannabis space who may not be licensed under NHP. And then as well, reputation. Being licensed under Health Canada's guidelines gives a company credibility. This can be crucial to attracting customers and business partners who value compliance, transparency, quality, and as well being able to streamline their partnerships. If you can offer a wider variety of options for them, it is going to make you more attractive to any future customers. Okay, so what are the key requirements to obtaining a NHP site license? So who needs it? First, it's any company involved in anything related to NHPs and cannabis combined. It also applies to both producers and distributors who handle the product that contain cannabis and are marketed as an NHP or the equivalent globally. So what does the application process look like? We've all gone through a cannabis license application, and we know the challenges in getting that together. While NHP is no easier, it is something that has existed for a long time. So there is a lot of help out there. A lot of your QAPs will have probably come from the NHP world, and we'll be able to guide you along with, if necessary, a consultant such as ourselves, cannabis license experts. So what does that application look like? It's information about your site and your operations. So again, movement, people, materials, primary rooms, clean, dirty rooms, all that fun stuff. Then a quality management system, either electronic or written. Again, if you're looking for an electronic system, please let me know. We will put you in contact with some of the greater experienced teams out there, such as Sean's. And then as well, you are going to have detailed records of product formulations and your safety information. Just think of the back of a bottle of any sort of multivitamin that you have and the additional information that's available there in comparison to cannabis products. That'll give you kind of a mental visual picture of what you are going to be looking at product formulations and safety info. Let's get into quality assurance and control systems. So companies have to implement a strong quality control system to meet Health Canada standards for cannabis NHPs. For example, if you're using the same encapsulating machine for cannabis products as well as an omega like a fish oil, how are you going to prevent cross-contamination? You are going to have SOPs and a sanitation program, and as well your logistical and kind of scheduling out to ensure that you don't have any cross-contamination. The last thing you want is somebody buying fish oil, giving it to a kid, and ending up with something that had residual THC in it. Not good for anybody involved. Then as well, you're going to have your set out and proven assayed testing procedures. You're going to have strong batch records and compliance with all your good manufacturing practices. So what does compliance for good manufacturing mean? It is that all manufacturing and packaging activities must adhere to those GMP standards to ensure the safety, consistency, and quality of your product. And this requirement is under the NHP regulations and is regularly inspected by Health Canada. So just remember, keeping this moving forward on a daily basis and adhering to your GMP standards as well as your in-house SOPs is going to make those inspections go a lot smoother. I also recommend that if you know Health Canada is coming in to do inspection, doing a self-audit, either on your own if you feel your team is strong enough, or working with a consulting team who can come in and give you that oversight and insights prior to them getting there so you can address any potential concerns. Okay, so what does the application process look like? First, we have your preparation and eligibility assessment. So before applying for a license, assess whether your facility is even going to meet the Health Canada standards for an NHP site license. You can review that eligibility criteria and ensure the compliance with the NHP as well as the Cannabis Act and regulations. So the application includes a site description, including the layout and safety protocols that you have in place, your operational details, including your processes for production, packaging, labeling, as well as a detailed QMS to ensure the compliance with all your regulatory standards. Now, what does a Health Canada review and inspection look like? And when's that going to happen? So basically, you're going to submit your application. You'll get some RMIs about any of that documentation, and then they will schedule a inspection to come and actually visit your site. I know many of us have had visits from the CRA and Health Canada over the last year and a half. They seem to really be ramping that up. Which is great, I guess. No less stressful for all of us, but it is nice to see them being more involved, and it just gives them insights to be better at their jobs as well as us moving forward. So Health Canada is going to review your application, including inspection of the facility, documentation, and your quality control measures. And that physical inspection of the site could occur. Sometimes they'll issue it and say it's kind of a tentative and we will be out there to inspect you, but it's going to confirm the compliance with all your proposed operations. And it is going to show them that you are able to work within multiple divisions under Health Canada and still be able to maintain that wonderful product. So the next is your issuance of a site license. So if Health Canada is happy with the application contents and their inspection, they will issue your site license. The license will specify the activities that the licensee is authorized to perform, whether it's manufacturing the product, packaging the product, labeling product, warehousing product, whatever you're doing with the product, and it will list out all of those operations. Make sure that you operate within the boundaries of your license. And if you do want to add activities moving forward, ensure that you are communicating with Health Canada to amend and revise your application and your license. So the next stage is your ongoing compliance and inspections. So after your license is issued, Health Canada will conduct periodic inspections to ensure ongoing compliance with all your regulatory standards. They typically give 30 to 60 days notification that they're coming on site. Not a lot of time if you've been sloppy. So you want to make sure that you are maintaining your systems throughout. Although I do recommend doing a pre-audit inspection before they come in. Again, using a third party can give you an extra set of eyes. And yes, we do gap assessments, a lot of them. And then companies have to maintain comprehensive records for all product testing, distribution activities. Largely this is so that clean and efficient recall procedures are in place and that you can pull back anything if necessary or get notifications out to anybody if something were to be identified as potential risk. So what are the common challenges and pitfalls? Number one, documentation and record keeping. Incomplete and inadequate documentation of procedures, testing, and batch records is unfortunately very common. And making sure that your QA and your QC team are bang on at all times is incredibly important. And one of the major things that I find works best for this is ongoing training. Like, we all get complacent in our jobs. It doesn't matter who we are. Autopilot kicks in, and a lot of times we don't see an issue, or we just build bad habits. We're humans, it happens. So yeah, making sure that you are maintaining those detailed records of all manufacturing quality control activities, and you're ensuring traceability and accountability for all processes, activities, and products. Next big pitfall that I see are quality control failures. So a common issue, non-compliance with GMP standards. So that's inconsistency in your quality of raw materials or a failure to conduct proper testing. Just because someone gives you a COA doesn't mean that you are not responsible for that product and the actual results of a COA once you have taken possession of it. So many teams will conduct additional testing to the COAs that they get for the raw materials, via a cannabis product from a cultivar to various ingredients, be them food or NHP. And again, a solution for this is a good QA program. An amazing QA program, really. And that's going to include regular training of all your team members, like I've mentioned already, consistent testing, batch sampling, and environmental controls. And actually, just go back here to the environmental controls. For anybody who's not in a grow department, we do know so much affects the quality of a plant, whether it be your cannabinoid profile, your terpene profile, moisture contents, all of that. So again, that's going to carry through to all of your products. So making sure you have your environment dialed in to exactly what you're looking for the production of the product, as well as maintaining that product before it heads out for shipping, be it international or local. And again, making sure that you have those environmental controls in place for your product as well throughout the shipping process. We've all heard nightmares of, amazing product leaving the country and there being issues when it gets to the other end because there wasn't any environmental controls within the period of time it took to get it to their customer. So another common pitfall, misinterpretation of NHP criteria. Again, you guys have all learned so much about Cannabis Act and regulations. Adding another layer to it can seem very overwhelming. Repetition makes perfection. Just keep at it, making sure that you are learning as much as you can through it. So a common issue is confusion around which cannabis products qualify and which do not. Because Health Canada hasn't actually finalized the health products containing cannabis as a category, it does create a little bit of a gray area onto how we are able to proceed within this category. Again, that being said, products being developed for outside of Canada that do meet both NHP and the Cannabis Act is going to better align you for approval with Health Canada. So using non-viable parts of a cannabis plant falls outside of the Cannabis Act, but under the NHP. So hemp seed oil, that's a common one. Root balls and stalks, we've seen a lot of people looking at various ways of using those, as well as fan leaves. There's a million ways to develop products, and there's so much science that we don't know yet about the kind of the benefits and wonderfulness of the cannabis plant that we all love so much. So just ensure that you work closely with experienced consultants such as CLE or our sister partner organization, Quality Smart Solutions, that has, close to 20 years experience within the NHP and food and beverage world right now. So working with someone who's been through this 100 times will provide additional layer of confidence to yourself and your team and Health Canada, as well as it provides you that opportunity to learn and build on your own ability to kind of navigate this process. The whole goal is so that, eventually you can do all of this on your own with an internal team. But again, bringing in an entire team right now, probably more costly than you're looking at. So working with a consultant, be it on a retainer, someone you can just call up every once in a while and say, hey, this is what we're doing. What are your thoughts? To, hey, I'm really not comfortable doing this myself. Can you do it for me and teach me how to do it? Consultants work in a variety of manners. And then another challenge would be a delay in license. Missing out on information. We all know it doesn't work. Health Canada gets real mad. We don't want to upset them. They've got a lot on their plate as well as their own businesses, and we don't want to be losing any of that potential revenue because we had a timeline of 6 months and now it's going to take 9 because somebody forgot to dot a T dot an I across the T, forgot to put in, just anything. And then solution, just always be proactive in what you are doing in preparing your application, ensuring that all your required documents and certifications are in order before submission. And I will say having an electronic system is not mandatory, but it does make your life a lot easier. So again, that QMS system, making sure it's in place and that people are properly trained to implement everything that's in there. Just allowing you to move more smoothly through your business operations. Okay. And Nicole, if you haven't hopped up yet, thank you very much for joining us for what you could today. And then, yes, we'll be in contact and you'll get a recording. So what are some of the best practices for success when combining your cannabis company and a new NHP site license? Number 1, invest in compliance from the start. Be proactive. We all know that mistakes are incredibly costly, and it's not necessarily a mistake, it's the going back and making all those necessary changes. So set your processes, your facility, and your documentation up to meet those Health Canada standards and those of the country that you're going to be exporting to before you even apply. Make sure you have a firm understanding of what those expectations are on both sides of that import-export agreement. You do not want to have a shipment sent back to you at any point because you missed a point in, say, the UK or Germany or Australia or Malta or wherever you're going to be sending your product. Stay up to date with regulatory changes. Regularly check for updates on regulations from Health Canada and whatever countries that you are exporting to, making sure that your site remains compliant and that you can address any changes as quickly as possible to keep a smooth and seamless operation. Yeah, we just want to make sure you're compliant at all times. And then maintaining open communication with Health Canada. I know we like to kind of complain about them, but they are there for a purpose. As someone who works on both multiple sides of the border, Canada takes a much more proactive approach to a lot of countries in terms of addressing potential concerns and issues for the health and safety of its citizens. So engage with the licensing and regulatory professionals. Work with Health Canada throughout the process. On the NHP side, you can request consultations, you can ask questions directly to Health Canada to ensure that you are moving in the right direction. And it'll help save you money and time moving forward, always. And then conduct regular internal audits. Performing regular audits of your facility and operations help you identify and address potential non-compliance issues before Health Canada gets there, and just help you stay compliant and reduce potential complaints. Now, I know I did go through that a little bit quickly today, but yeah, it is what it is. It is a great opportunity to help expand your business while still making those cannabis products and serving the Canadian market that we love so much. Sorry, I'm just checking the comments to see if we had any questions that I can address for you. Let me just move up here. And for anybody who is watching this from the States, while NHP is its own category up in Canada, QMS, quality assurance, SOPs, all of these things are kind of across the board. Not the same, but similar. You could think of CGMP services. I'm just going to show Sean's question here. And unfortunately, not yet. We are waiting. We know that the Scientific Review Board has recommended a cannabis health product category. I believe we will likely hear more on that when they do finish and announce the entire regulatory review that we're all waiting and praying for happens soon, which will help reduce some of those regulatory admin weigh downs on the cannabis side, which would open a little bit more opportunity on the NHP side. But yes, we do know that there is a push both from the Natural Health Product Association in Canada, as well as some of the larger corporations who want to see CBD moved into NHPs away from cannabis. We all have opinions on it. We won't get into that today. Okay. Craig. So this NHPs have a equivalency. We can reach out to me and I'll send you a list of what companies exactly you can look at, but NHPs are shipped from Canada to nearly every market within the EU. Now, whether or not they accept a cannabinoid NHP is going to be down to that specific country. Germany, parts of Ireland, some Australia, depending on the formulation of the product. And there are a few others that do specifically have listed as we will accept an NHP site license for cannabis products. Again, it's going to just be determined by how the country that you want to import into classifies various THC and CBD product. Are they looking at it under strictly medical without a wellness category? Do they have a wellness category? Are they accepting NHP as an equivalency, or are they going to be very, very strict on it must be an EU GMP or a DEL? Dell does create a little bit more of an extra layer of that QMS, QA, transparency, and global acceptance, but it is far more costly. So it could be something that you want to look at now or that you want to grow into in the future. And as well, if you visit our website, we do have a webinar on Dell licensing for the cannabis industry that I did, I believe it was in November. But again, if you email me put the banner back up here at info@cannabislicenseexperts.com, then I can get you that information and send you a link to that webinar as well to give you a little bit more. Okay. Greg, I did just kind of touch on that a little bit about EU GMP certifications, and Australia, it is, again, Australia is a little bit more specific to a Dell, especially if it's THC containing product. But there are still a very wide variety of countries that do accept options under the Dell. So again, it's going to look specific, but Australia is it's a tough market to get into. I'll touch loosely on it. They accept Adele, they accept EU GMP, or you can have a regulatory authority from Australia fly to Canada, inspect your facility, and authorize it that way. Very costly to do it that way. EU GMP certification is not necessarily obtainable for everyone in the cannabis industry. One, if you're a micro, it's going to be incredibly costly for what you're able to produce unless you are doing standalone NHP products. Like you are able to dedicate some lines to just making multivitamins or omega fish oils or CBD encapsulation. Kind of what I got to say about that one. Sorry, there's a puppy that keeps running past my door and it's very distracting. Very cute. Okay, so let's see what other questions we have. Okay. So Eric's question here. So again, they are going to be considered under a couple different pathways. Stabilizers are going to be considered ingredients under an NHP as long as they don't have any listings as to concerns, or if they are listed under the ingredients of NHPs, then you are going to list that as an ingredient. Customers are going to want to know everything that you have. But again, if you have something specific you want us to look into, just reach out to me and I'll get you a little bit more specific information. Ryan, I agree. Finding proper space is definitely a huge challenge within our industry. If you want to reach out, I might have somebody looking to lease a space or a space within their space. Don't really specialize in that, but I'll definitely do what I can and connect you with a few people. Let's see what else we have coming up here. Okay, Ryan, that's a little bit more of a technical question. I'm a compliance specialist. So again, I can reach out to my technical team if you reach out to me after the session, and we can get you a little bit more insights into anything specific and how it will combine between an NHP site license and the cannabis industry. Are there any topics that you would like me to go back to or slides you'd like me to go back to before we wrap up today? I'm fine staying online for, up till about 2:30 if necessary, but if everybody's kind of happy with where we've covered. Nice. Excellent, Ryan. One of the things about being in the cannabis industry, as exhausting as it is you never get bored. There's always something to grow with. Okay, so NHP Health Canada fees. Oh gosh, Let me see if I have those on hand. And then site licensing is going to, from a consultant side, it's determined by the number of activities that you are doing, the type of activity. Are you just packaging or are you manufacturing? Do you have a QMS system in place already that we are just assessing, or are we helping you create one? So that's a really loaded question, in all honesty. And I don't want to scare anybody by going, this much. What I can tell you straight off is it is not going to cost you nearly as much as going after a drug establishment license. It's kind of an in-between step from not having any sort of addition to the Cannabis Act and its regulations to going as far as the DEL, which can run upwards of $70,000 a year. NHP fees are just beginning in Health Canada, which is why I can't think of them off the top of my head. The NHP world got to skirt a lot of those cost recovery fees until very recently. And they are being implemented and they're not happy about it. But yeah, I've talked to some NHP companies and yeah, they don't always love my response of, yeah, I've worked in cannabis for 6 years, so cost recovery fees, I don't want to hear your complaints. They're not that bad. Not even, they're really not. They're very reasonable. And when you compare them against cannabis fees and what the setup was, is if you have a lot of your systems in place, you are going to be already kind of partway through that process. But again, Greg, email me and I'll get you a list of fees specific to what activities you're looking at doing. And I can send you a link for the NHP guides from Health Canada as well. Like I said, NHP has been around for a lot longer than cannabis under Health Canada's umbrella. So there is a lot more resources to get you started and set up. All right, do we have any last questions today? I think the only thing that I want to reiterate is, again, these under an NHP site license, yes, we're looking at cannabis products, but this is also a way for you to increase profitability on your processing side if you do not have your lines running 100% of the time producing cannabis products. It's nice to kind of be able to add a secondary revenue stream. And like I said, it could be just manufacturing an NHP product or an ingredient for NHP. It's not nearly as fun and exciting, but getting paid at the end of the month is a lovely thing. And we've all stressed about that over the past few years. Cannabis is definitely a passion for many of us in the industry. And we do know that it is going to take time to make it as stable as an industry as we would like to envision it being, and a lot more work with Health Canada from cannabis companies. And I personally think that NHP site licensing and working with divisions outside of the cannabis in Health Canada is just going to, again, create a little bit more normalization, stronger bonds and relationship, and better understanding at Health Canada about what exactly it is that we do and the dedication that we put into creating these products and driving this industry forward. Okay, so I don't see any last questions. So I am going to take this time to say thank you to everyone who has joined us today. I know it was a little bit of a shorter session than I tend to run. But again, there is a lot of specifics to what activities you want to be doing and what those prices and concerns are going to be moving forward. So please, again, feel free to email me at info@cannabislicenseexperts.com. You can also just go directly to our website and put in an inquiry there. I will receive those myself and I will reply to you personally. So again, if you're looking for an EQMS system, if you're looking for connections and ideas, if you want to get a proposal and quote, if you want to see what is available to you for the size of the operation that you have or the current activities that you are offering, please, please, please do reach out. I do love my job, and I will talk to anyone about anything that does relate back to it, be it whether we end up working together in the future or not. Well, I do want to work with you all. So again, thank you very much from myself, Marie, and the CLE team. We are looking forward to seeing you at our next webinar, which will be probably in about 4 weeks. So keep an eye on your emails to see what our next topic is moving forward. And again, please email me at info@cannabislicenseexperts.com with any follow-up questions. And thank you all for taking your time today and spending it with us. Have a wonderful afternoon.